Welcome back to On the Spot with Stephanie. Today in studio we have multiple award-winning broadcast journalist Judy Muller and celebrated author and director of the Critical Media Project, Alison Trope, who co-teach a class on news and new media at USC's Annenberg School. These two women, clearly extraordinary in their own right, also have another thing in common. They were both recently diagnosed with breast cancer, and they've started a blog together centered around their journeys. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. I really appreciate you coming. So, how are you doing? How are you holding up?
Well,
Here's where
we're not. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We're holding up fine. I mean, this is our reality, and we are trying to have the illusion of control over it by writing about it. Mm-hmm. But it does help. It helps us keep sane. It helps us inject a little humor into what is not at all a humorous situation. So that's what we're doing.
It's been, for me especially, a big shock because it's just been the last 5 weeks, basically. So, as Judy said, this is like harnessing what little control I have, and it's giving us pleasure, at least me, to write about it because it's sort of so absurd that it becomes funny.
It was really Alison's idea to do this blog, if you want to call it that. We're posting on medium.com. Mm-hmm. And once we got into it and we're doing it together every week, it really became the only thing that I looked forward to around this issue because I was getting daily radiation treatments. She's just started chemo. So that's not fun. So having that little slice of our own was nice.
Yeah.
And it was a quick turnaround for you. I mean, you just found out about your diagnosis in November. Allison, you found about yours in February. So it was very quick when you started to write this blog. Mm-hmm. Were you able to share it with your family? Did it help in sharing it with the family? I mean,
I think that's more of a question for Allison because my daughters are grown, and my youngest daughter had breast cancer, and I saw her through that, and it was a very serious breast cancer when she was 30. So we've kind of been down that route. And mine was early and stage 1, and I was lucky. Allison has the tougher stuff because she's got 2 young kids at home, and she's stage 4. Mm-hmm. So it's more aggressive, and she has to talk to her kids about it.
And so I haven't shared with them that I'm writing these articles, although my older son saw it the other day, and he said, "Oh, you're writing about that. That's really good." So I don't want him to necessarily read it because I go into more detail than I'm telling him. I'm communicating a lot of these things with him, but not every detail, and not every detail of how I feel. But I think it has helped, sharing it with friends. It's kind of easier than keeping, regular updates via emails or texts or things like that. I can just say, here, read what's going on with me.
One centralized place where they can get the information they want about you. Absolutely. Now, Judy, you mentioned using comedy and bringing as much comedy as you can to this. You've used a phrase in the blog, AFGO. Can you tell us that phrase and where that came from?
Well, because we're on television at a student-run network. It's not HBO, but it stands for Another Effin' Growth Opportunity. And I have a friend who used to use that. Oh, it's an AFGO. Another chance to grow spiritually and in all other ways, And it's a bit of a snarky remark, but it is, in fact, another effing growth opportunity. I mean, how you deal with these things in life, help shape you, and we'd like to think we're handling it very well.
I'd say so. I would definitely say so. And Allison, for your part in the blog, you've really focused on experiencing this in your own way because you've taken an adamant stand that you're not going to just put on a happy face for other people's comfort level. Mm-hmm. How has your support system reacted to that approach?
I think people like it because I think people do feel bad sometimes, and it's okay to wallow. And it's so easy to be quick to say, stay positive, keep your chin up, and all those kind of cliches. And I don't think we take a step back and sort of think about the fact that those cliches are often empty. And so part of what I did, I wore on the first day of chemo a t-shirt that says, "Don't tell me to smile," because I just, felt like I need to wear something on my body that sort of says how I feel. And it had hearts, though, so it's a little balanced. But
she's a communications professor.
Yes, exactly.
She's communicating at all times.
At all times, in all ways. So I think it's more authentic to really say, I mean, I appreciate positive thoughts. I'm not telling people not to think positively, but I also want to be able to feel, horrible sometimes.
And very fairly so. Judy, you just finished your last treatment.
Right. I had 21 days straight of radiation, and which is kind of a dehumanizing experience because these guys see, like 20 breasts a day, and you'd kind of like to be the one that's special. And so, but at the end of it, they have a ceremony at the USC Breast Cancer Clinic at Norris where you get to hit a big gong to celebrate that you're done. And so I did that, and I posted it on my Facebook page, and it just was amazing how many people wanted to celebrate that with me, which is the value of social media, of course, is it's just so wonderful. You have to decide ahead of time, how private do I want my life to be? And we've sort of given that one up, as evidenced by our sitting here with you.
Yes, absolutely. And we're very thankful that you're here. And Alison, regarding your treatment, you've written it's very intense. You just had your first treatment, and I think it was 7 hours long.
Yeah.
And you have, I think, 5 more to go. Now, you're doing these 7-hour treatments. You have children. You're teaching. You're writing this blog. How are you handling all of that? How are you doing it all?
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
That's a good feminist question. I'm definitely cutting back on some things with regard to work. I'm still planning on teaching through the end of the semester. But I'm also listening to my body. I'm trying to, if my body doesn't feel like doing something, I'm going to go with what my body says. But it is a hard balancing act. And at one point in the treatment, for 1 hour of the 7 hours, I had to wear oven mitts on my hands with ice so that my fingernails don't get ridged or black or fall off. We'll see what happens. But, I couldn't even do anything at that point. I mean, I guess I could have watched TV, but it just allows you to kind of take perspective on, everything that you do and sort of appreciate your hands and all the different parts of your body.
And speaking to the fact that you may have to cut back in some ways, when you first found out about Judy's diagnosis, you had offered to step up.
Yeah, thanks.
Help with the class. And now that you've got this new information, how will your class be impacted?
I don't think so. We've got this class down. We had a sort of beta version last year, and we worked out all the wrinkles, and it's really running quite smoothly. And because there's 2 days and 2 professors, if somebody's feeling down, one can pick up, and vice versa. We also have a wonderful couple of wonderful people helping us. So, and everybody's volunteered to help.
It's been amazing.
We've got this faculty's amazing.
Yeah.
So everybody said, I can teach this, I can teach that, and we're going to be fine.
Yeah, and we have Plan Bs in the wings if we need help. But I taught today, and I just had my first treatment on Friday, and I felt actually pretty good. So I didn't feel great yesterday, but again, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely happy to hear that because you're invaluable to USC students. I mean, Judy, you've helped me workshop a script before. I haven't had the pleasure of working with you, but the semester's not over yet.
Right.
But these ladies do have to get to class. They have a class at 2. We thank you for your time with us today. We really appreciate you sharing this AFGO with all of us today. And you can see all about their treatments, trials, and testimonies on their blog at medium.com/@HER2. Thank you for joining us for On the Spot with Stephanie.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie.